3,
2,
1.
and we're live.
A very good afternoon, Bromigos.
Yeah.
My name is Martin,
My name is Levi.
and welcome back to episode 4, where we will be talking about mental health.
Ooh. Let's just hype it right here. Mental health.
A very
oh my God,
controversial topic.
What does it mean?
Today, we are going to talk about what mental health is, what our experience is with it. I mean, the degeneration of it.
Yeah.
Deterioration, actually.
Would you say we are experienced?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, I knew what answer to expect.
And
yeah.
what we think society right now, the problems are with mental health and like the youth, the young generation.
Yeah.
So Levi, what is mental health?
Oh, that's a really big question. Like a really.
How do you define mental health?
Oh, okay, like that. Well, mental health is, of course, to be very basic, how do you feel? That's the very basic of it to me. Like, do I feel okay? Do I feel good in my own skin? Already touched upon that in the second episode, right? About self-confidence.
Oh yeah.
It's also like, do I feel stable? Which is maybe different than feeling okay, but like, do I feel stable as well? Like,
How do you mean stable?
well, sometimes it's just, and everyone relates to that. Like, sometimes it's just a lot going on in your life, and then you just feel like overwhelmed. And when I get the feeling of being overwhelmed, I know that my mental health is not the best it could be, because else I wouldn't be overwhelmed. I think that. How is it for you? How do you define it for yourself?
I think being in control is one, like being able to control your thoughts and emotions and feeling well.
Mhm.
I think mental health for me is basically the sum product of the, let's say, the intensity and qualities of my emotions and thoughts, and the ability to direct them into a like goal or desire or way. So, for example, let's say you want to be more social, then you should, if you have like really good thoughts about yourself and other people, and you're ready to socialize and you feel well, you feel confident, if you can put that in one line with your goal, which is to socialize better, then you are mentally healthy.
Yeah.
But for example, if you have like really low self-esteem, negative thoughts, and you have social anxiety and you want to socialize more, then you think you have a bit of ill mental health.
Yeah.
I think that the health of your brain and your mental state, I think if your state of being overall mentally is bad, I think that's where you can say you have a problem.
Yeah, true. And of course, it's also like a lot of mental disorders, diseases.
A
lot of them that we know of. Psychology is really trying to figure out which kinds of illnesses there are. For example, depression, anxiety. There's just a few of them. The list is big. And there's a lot of ways that people can have like struggles with mental health, be it just stress. And I think most people relate to it. Like, there's a huge epidemic.
And anxiety also.
Yeah. And there's a huge epidemic of like depression, anxiety in general in our country, in a lot of Western countries. There's like a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety. People just feeling like shit, or just feeling like apathetic, like don't give a fuck anymore. Just like it's all too much. And I don't know where I want to go with this story, but I want to ask you, like, because I once read, like, if you have the thing with the mental health, how do you say that, area is like, it's almost like get one or take one, get one for free. So if you have one problem, there's a big chance you will have other problems, right?
Yeah.
It's weird, but it
attracts each other. It's like, it's almost if you are, for example, really sad or depressed or anxious, it's like an gateway to more problems, because you kind of almost attract them into your life and they just start manifesting like out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so, for example, because you're pretty ADHD, right? You're like a high energy. Do you feel like you have trouble concentrating on tasks?
I don't think I'm like ADHD is a label. I may have some characteristics or like traits, or symptoms, but I think mental health is also what we just talked about, like being able to control your thoughts and emotions. And even if I would be like classical ADHD, if I have focus over how I feel And if I am conscious about it, but if I, for example, when I work on a course or when I study or when I work, if I can like focus, then I think I'm not ADHD. I think I think the label depends on how much you are a victim of your own illness and how much you are in control, like just what we talked about.
Yeah, maybe owning it.
Yeah, because
whatever it is that you...
Yeah, but owning it is not just like accepting it, because I can accept that I'm, for example, not focused, but you still have to do something about it. But let's say you're depressed.
Work with it, like, yeah.
Yeah, you in Dutch you say roeien met de riemen die je hebt. So you accept the situation, you just do like...
Try and translate it for the English audience.
You're just basically going with the tools that you've been given.
Oh, yeah.
And for example, let's say you're depressed, but if you know it, if you're conscious about it, if you're working on yourself, and if you like know that sometimes you have those like sad episodes, but you're still making the best out of it, and you are just trying to live your life the best you can, then you are in control. And then I think the mental health is increasing. So the mental illness doesn't have that big of effect on you.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, why are we doing this episode? And I think that's an interesting one as well. I think for me, like, I really like to talk about mental health and all the issues and subjects surrounding it, because it's not a subject that people like to talk about.
It's
like, it's getting better, but it's still quite taboo. Like, you want to seem in control, right? Like, to the outside world, you want to seem like you got it all figured out, you're in control. And then to friends and very close friends, maybe family too, you might want to be more vulnerable. But it's still like, people don't like talking about it.
It's
even
like
family stuff. Like,
I think to the outside world, we also want to like show our best self, because on social media people also do that. So like, if you have a mental illness, most people don't talk about it because they want to seem perfect. But I think what would be a good starter is for each one of us to like tell a little story about like our maybe biggest mental health episode, like mental breakdown.
Sure.
I mean, because I think every teen...
You mean like, let's start with that shit and then go from there? Like, yeah.
I mean, every teen or adolescent has, I think, at least 1 or 2 episodes in their life where their mental health is just like pure shit.
Just down the drain.
And
like, nowhere left to be found. Like, where did I put my mental health? Could someone help me look for it?
So I think that's where we should start. So,
sure. Oh, you want to give it to me?
Yeah, you have the most juicy story normally.
I mean, maybe. I don't know where to start. Like, I was, as a kid, I was a difficult kid. Had a lot of trouble focusing, concentrating. Also, like if there were too many impulses, especially when I went from elementary school to high school, and then you change classes every hour, and you go to a new classroom and new teacher and everything. That was just too much for me. It was just a lot of impulses, and didn't know how to handle it properly. So that impacted me back then. But mostly, well, I got to say, I once had a diagnosis. I talked about it before. Like, I don't know which podcast. We talked about it before. Like, I used to be diagnosed as Asperger's.
It was the second podcast, I think.
Yeah, I think so. And Asperger's nowadays is called autism spectrum disorder. I really don't identify with it anymore. But like, for a long time, yeah. And there is something, like, I do know I have trouble concentrating sometimes. I need to get like something needs to draw me in. Like, if I do something like work-wise, it needs to be challenged. So I get bored easily. So that's some of the downsides to it. But I think my best example of mental health for me would be like the winter.
Your winter depression.
Winter depression.
But what is a winter depression for the audience?
Winter depression.
Never heard of it.
For everyone watching and for everyone that don't know it, winter depression is great. It's basically that when the sun gets to, how do you say it? Maybe below a certain angle. Like, if you look at the sky, if it gets below a certain angle, the intensity of the sun gets too low. You have a hard time producing vitamin D in your body. But it's not only that, it's just the sun rays as well. And people with seasonal affective disorder is what it's called medically. They have a hard time in the winter. There's also people that have a hard time in the summer.
What is causing the hard time? Like, how do you...
Well, basically lack of sun. Basically, that's it.
But
And
what
nothing
does
more.
the sun do? What winter doesn't? Like, what is the determining factor?
It helps your body make, well, one, vitamin D, but
Mhm.
like indirectly it helps your body make produce serotonin
Oh
and
yeah,
also dopamine. But
important
like,
hormone.
yeah, it helps your body make these neuro transmitters that you need in order to function well, and it's more readily available in summer. That's why I fucking love summer. Like right now, I fucking love it. It's
The
just
great vibes.
It's great vibes. It's amazing. I feel good. My mind works well, and my body works well. But in winter, it's just like
How do you feel during winter? Like,
I wanted to say sad, but I don't even feel sad. I just feel
flat.
flat and no energy. The only sadness I feel is that the sadness, like, oh my god, I am here, like in this state of mind, and I'm not like where I want to be. But it's mostly just flat, but it doesn't help.
Like suppressed emotions or something, or suppressed happiness and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I also I can't like articulate my emotions in those periods of time.
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot of difficulty with that. Well, normally I am okay with doing that, but I'm wondering if that's like that I can't do it, or if it's like really something like chemically, like that it's just the winter. It fucks up my brain, and then my brain doesn't work properly, and then I also can't like talk properly about stuff like that.
And what was your worst episode ever? Like your biggest mental health error?
Well, last 2 winters have been hard. Also, when I left the student flat, we talked about it last time. We talked about it last time that I went to the psychologist and we looked at the alcohol and drug use and the cigarette use. And he was like telling me like, maybe you should cut down on some of that stuff. I know you're a student and you like your parties, but maybe cut down a bit because you're stressed and you're overworked and you need to take some time to relax and restore. So I finally learned how to do it, and that's been great.
So that was your biggest one?
Yeah, because I had a lot of personal shit. I had like a weird, complicated relationship in which some it wasn't me, but I was the third wheel in a very complicated dynamic, and I got away from that flat. I just got away from that location. Just wanted to like get to a place that I could recharge better. My own studio instead of like the student flat that you share your hallway with like 13 people.
Yeah.
And everyone knows everything about everyone. You
have no
like
privacy.
No
so
privacy. Like everything you do, like even if you would go home with someone and no one saw it the next day, everyone still knew it. Like it doesn't matter what you did, everyone just knew it anyways. And yeah, I wanted some more privacy, but I wishes a lot of stuff at the same time. Was that a complicated relationship? It was my grandma passed away around that time. I worked 2 jobs, good jobs, but like 2 jobs in between. I still wanted to chill and I wanted to have my drink and my smoke and everything. And I just packed too much shit in my life at that moment. And it went well for like a few months, and then I crashed.
And what happened during the crash? Like,
my mind was dark. It was like clouded. Like I didn't feel stable. I didn't feel lucid. It was very clouded with a lot of like. I would describe it very cheesy, but I would describe it as like a stormy sea. Like a lot of like waves everywhere, and just very like. Clouded. It's just a lot going on, and not in a good way, but just a lot going on. And I had trouble thinking clearly because of all the stuff that was in my head. And I just needed to take a rest. But the thing is, it doesn't happen like this, So it's not like, today I finally realized, I got to take a step back.
It's just like your mental breakdown doesn't just happen. It's like an ongoing process until you have too much pressure build up.
Yeah, so it's not like I do one good day and I take a lot of rest, like I sleep for 12 hours or something and then it's gone. No, it takes months for it to like improve. Eventually it does, and sometimes it improves faster because I know you probably feel the same way. Like with the more experience you get in life, the better you get to know yourself. You get to know like, okay, what can I do to get out of like a situation like that? Like, I feel bad, I'm in a bad place. Okay, I need to focus on this and this stuff, and that will get me through it to a better place. So that's been better and better, but it still takes some time.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's your worst ever mental health crises?
I think I know it. So it's a long story, but long story short, because we only have an hour.
Yeah.
Back in 2017, 2018, I was living in Amsterdam, the north of it, just like you. I was studying, and like I was like kind of into this girl, but I had attachment issues back then. So I already had like high anxiety and like weird, mental stuff back then. And I remember during New Year's Eve, I tried some MDMA drugs.
Ooh.
But I had a huge bad trip.
Ooh.
And yeah, after that, things got pretty rough. Like, I mean, I was just from one day to another, I was completely wrecked. Like the next 2 weeks after that bad trip, I didn't leave my room. Like I literally didn't leave my room
for
two
2
weeks. Yeah.
Really?
No laundry.
Was it like panic attacks and?
Yeah, panic. I had like sleeping. I couldn't sleep. Panic attacks and everything. And I just wanted to be in my bed.
That's insane, man.
Yeah, and I didn't leave my room for 2 weeks. Didn't do laundry. Didn't eat. Or well, I ate something, but like,
like crackers and bread and
stuff like breadcrumbs and cucumber.
Yeah.
No, but and the panic.
It's a healthy.
I lost a few pounds. I became pretty shredded.
Yeah.
But so the sleeping problems and the panic attacks lasted for 4 months, and I had them every single day
for 4 months.
Yeah, from June or January till April. And within those 4 months, also the girl that I was kind of like seeing, but also not seeing, it was like a really complicated thing.
Mm-hmm.
She started like, how do you say that? Distancing from me, and I could feel it, but I couldn't do anything about it, right?
Yeah.
So this constant like fear of like losing her. And back in the day, I was like really needy and I wasn't the guy I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
that also probably took like a toll on your mental health.
Because you're constantly afraid.
Is she gonna go away? What's gonna happen with this? With this dynamic between us, this relationship, where's it gonna go? I don't want to maybe lose you, but like I'm not in the right state of mind.
You know there's something wrong, but you just cannot do anything about it because you're not like able to do something about it because your mental health is shit.
Yeah.
So for those 4 months, I was almost at home every single day. I went to school like 4 hours a week just for like mandatory lessons.
Yeah.
Didn't go to college. Didn't see friends. I was just in my room like for 4 months.
Oh yeah. Shit.
Almost didn't sleep during those 4 months. And I believe somewhere in March, the girl I was like talking to her, she was like, yeah, I don't want to see you again. I have no interest in you anymore. And then the next day, my dad called me and said my parents were going to divorce. But I already had 3 months.
Your parents were going to divorce?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I already had like 3 months of sleepless nights and panic attacks and all that stuff. So it was like this huge, big event.
Yeah.
And after that, I just couldn't function anymore. And I think what I did was in April, like things got really bad. And I was like, okay, fuck. I have to change something because otherwise this is going to go bad. And like from one day to another, I was like, okay, first I saw this on a YouTube video. Like if you want to get out of a downward spiral, you have to change up your environment.
Yeah.
So even though I felt shitty from the inside, I started going back to college again, seeing friends, laughing with them. And, you forget about the problems. And I started going to the gym again, working out, becoming, having a better body. And like after 1 month, things went like great again. I mean, I met a new girl, fell in love. I started seeing my friends. My exams were really good, like my overall exam results. Started feeling more healthy, and then I got out of it. But if I didn't do that, I don't know. I don't think I was like depressed, but I would have the DSM-5 symptoms for it. But it just it takes a huge toll on you. But that's because of the drugs, also the bad trip. So since that moment, I've never done any drugs anymore in my life for like 3 years now. Yeah, 3.5 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically what happened.
Oh shit! It's a long time too to recover. Like 4 months is at least, right? 4 or 5.
Yeah,
months.
But I still had panic attacks after that, but just not every day. I remember even when I dropped out of school and was in the new sales job where we were in together.
Mhm.
I believe like in September, October, I would still have like panic attacks, but I just ignored them and then they went away again. But as soon as I was like identifying with the panic attack and like, oh my God, what's happening? Then it got way worse. But
Yeah.
if you just ignore it, it's most of the time it was gone in like
But you
20
mean
seconds.
ignore it or just be like, okay, it's here, just like...
Yeah, don't try to fight it, but just ignore it. Literally act as if nothing would happen. You just step into the elevator, or if I would have a panic attack, I would just talk with people.
Yeah,
Because
you would just probably like say to yourself like, okay, you feel it's happening, but you'd be like, it's happening. It's also gonna be okay. So just continue on doing what I normally do instead of giving into it and getting all fucked up.
yeah, you pretend like nothing's. And my goal was always when I had a panic attack and I was talking to someone, my goal was to not make them notice that I had one. So I would just pretend like nothing was happening. And then it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So then your body's going to calm down like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really tough episode.
Can I ask you, like, because it took a long time, did you feel at any point like you have to sit through it? Because also you said like at the end you started doing some stuff to like get out of it, and then within a month you got way better, right?
Well, the main mistake...
Did you also feel like you just sometimes have to sit it out?
Yeah, because the fear was, for example, with the bad trip that I had, I would have still like anxiety and visuals the next day. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit this out for a few days. Same with the panic attacks. I will just let them slide or bad sleep. But after like, if you have that for 1 week or 2 weeks, you're like, okay, this is gonna go over.
Yeah.
But if you are in that state for like 2 months, then eventually you're gonna become like, that's where my anxiety came from. Like, fuck, I'm never gonna snap out of it. But the main issue, the main problem that I had, the biggest mistake that I made was that I did not switch up my environment. Like, if after 2 weeks after the bad
you
trip,
kept doing the same thing over and over
just
again.
stay in my room,
Groundhog
isolated.
Day,
yeah. If I would just after like 2 weeks,
isolate yourself.
Yeah, after 2 weeks I would just like go see my mom, hang out with friends. Then I would go get back into society. But I just distanced myself more and more, and I don't think that's a good idea.
No. I feel distancing myself. I sometimes do it like in the winter. I do it a bit because I know I'm just not fun to be around. Like at certain moments, or just I want to distance myself a bit because I will tell friends about it. But yeah, I'm not gonna talk about it every fucking day or every fucking of the whole fucking week. But
why do you think?
But I wanted to make the point, like sometimes I distance myself for just a small amount of time, like maybe a few weeks. But after that, I really gotta get into it again because I just know like isolation fucks me up even more.
Yeah,
they just get in your own world, and then you like the longer you don't talk to people, or the longer you like close yourself off to the world, the harder it's gonna be to get back into that world. And you make the gap so big, and then you're like, oh my God, I need to socialize again, but I don't know how to do it anymore.
I remember
it just gets more and more difficult.
Like after those 2 weeks, I finally went out of my room because I had like no clothes left. And I was doing like...
How long did it take for your eyes to adjust to the sunlight?
No, but like I was like, okay, shit, I'm going to go out of my room. And I saw friends of mine like downstairs, and they were looking at me like,
who the fuck is this?
What the fuck happened? What the fuck happened to you? You look like shit. And they were like, I haven't seen you in 2 weeks. What have you been doing? Laying in my bed?
Masturbating.
First podcast, guys. Watch it.
First one.
But yeah,
probably no.
Well, can't say I did, can't say I didn't. No. But like
no comment. Yeah, okay.
No comments. But they were like, "What the fuck, man?" They were like super surprised that they saw me in that state. And if you isolate yourself for like a month, most people do that, right? When they feel bad or shitty mentally, they isolate themselves. Yeah, which is the worst thing you can do. You can take some me time in a weekend, but not lay in your bed all day for 3 months.
Yeah, true. Like I feel that too. Like I will take more time for me, but if I take all the time for me, maybe sometimes you need to take all the time for you. That can happen. But there's also a point, like the difficult thing for me is there's a point between just sitting it out for a bit, like maybe getting back to you, like isolating yourself for a bit until you feel better. and like it's that, and then it's the point of like actively trying to get better. Sometimes I feel like I just need some rest. I just need to do nothing for like a few days, and then I feel better. But also sometimes that just doesn't work, and then you can end up for like 4 months like seeing almost no one until you decide like, okay, I need to actively do something different, like change my environment to get in there again, get back in the game. But
that's why also, like, I mean, most people, young people, are not, really busy with discipline and structure, but those things really help. For example, after I snapped out of my mental breakdown, I had like good structure of how late approximately I was going to wake up and go to bed. Okay, gym 3 times a week, school 5 times a week, 2 hours of studying in the evening, seeing friends on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and because of Siri, thank you very much.
Siri likes to join us.
He's so serious.
In conversations. Yeah. So
anyway, so I had like this structure, and that actually prevents you from having a breakdown again or falling back because you are busy with interacting with other people and you have something to focus on. Because once you start drifting off with your thoughts in your bed all day, ooh, yeah, bad stuff happens.
Yeah. Where do you think, by the way, okay, for you, that episode was chemically induced?
Yeah.
A bit like the ecstasy, was it?
Yeah, MDMA. Ecstasy.
MDMA, yeah. Did you also think that was just like a catalyst? Like there was some stuff building up already?
Yeah.
And then that drug moment was just like...
That, I mean, definitely, because there were things building up already. Like, for example, when I moved out of my house with my parents, back to or to Amsterdam, I already had like a huge backpack of like some emotional luggage that I took with me. Yeah. And those things, like in the first year, also took time to process. So I think the drugs really just opened like a door, and it was like the last thing, and then it all happened.
Is the floodgates open?
Yeah. How do you say that?
Well, it's like a trigger.
Yeah, it triggered it.
And then it triggered just... And then it opened the door, and then just everything came out.
But because of that, also after the mental breakdown, I developed pretty high self-consciousness and just like analyzing myself, my thoughts, my emotions, my feelings, where I am in life, where I'm going. So if I wouldn't not have had that episode, my life would be, different.
Yeah.
But what do you think is the main problem, like if we jump to that subject, with like the current mental health epidemic in society? Because a lot of young kids and adults are suffering. But why do you think that happens? Like, they are not all taking MDMA on a New Year's Eve, so there's something else wrong.
A lot of them are, though. It's a difficult one. Remember that I read a study 2 weeks ago. It was a study about different generations, I think from the boomers to the zoomers, basically, and their like resilience to stuff, like how sensitive we are.
Yeah.
And then compare, different generations compared to each other. And always everyone says, and especially the boomers say, like, the youth, like nowadays, they're so sensitive, and
but
you can't say anything anymore. Yeah, but the study found out that the boomers are actually more sensitive than our generation and the generation below us. Sensitive to stuff happening in the world, sensitive to maybe when someone tries to fuck with you, or tries to like how do you say that?
Someone offends you.
For example, like apparently, like our generation, the generation below us, is way better at handling that kind of stuff than the boomers were, if you compare them. But still, like, because that, for me, that would seem like, we're just better at handling like emotional stuff or social stuff, so that would make us stronger. But you also see that we have a lot of mental issues. A lot of burnout. I remember.
But there's also, I think, because there's so much pressure on like the younger kids and generations, that I don't know if they can all handle it. You see people with like age 20 or 19 having a burnout. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, but it happens. the time with the psychologist, that was close to burnout for me, I think. Yeah, probably. And I was there in time, so I didn't have to recover and stay at home for like a long time. But I think it is. We want to do everything, and I think that's also the way we've been raised. At least the way I've been raised, probably, is that I also want to explore everything. So there's so many choices out there, right? And especially our generation, we have all the choices in the world. You can study anything.
Yeah, but
you can even
do you
study
think that's also the problem?
You can study subjects. You can study, what's it called again? It's free time. You know, your free time, your time off,
leisure time.
Leisure time. There's a study, leisure time management. Leisure time
what the
management.
fuck?
Yes,
How does that make you money?
at the UVA, the University of Amsterdam, leisure time management. There's studies for everything, so you can become whatever you want. But that's also like there's so much choice, like compared to like maybe 50 years ago. There's so much choice.
So you think people don't know what to choose, or?
Well, you don't know what to choose. Also, you want to experience a lot. You know, we live for the experience. We want to experience all kinds of fun and interesting shit. And I think that's also just, it paralyzes people. I know it does to me. Like sometimes I'm like, but I also want to do this. And I want to do this. I would want to go like for sport. And I'm not even that sporty of a guy. I like the bike. I very much like the bike. Also like sailing when I get the chance to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like want to learn horse riding. I want to learn skydiving. I want to learn
but do you really want to do it? And like,
I would really want to. But I also like know that, okay, I'm not going to do that because there's other things I'm better at. And maybe I'll do it once or twice. But there's so much stuff that I would want to do. And also like maybe because we live in an age of self-actualization. Like you can do anything if you put your mind to it. And we know that.
But it's true, right?
But then, but that's true. But then there's so much opportunity, so much stuff that you can do. What are you going to do?
And do you think that causes, or is one like cause of mental health problems that people just don't know what to do?
I think it's easier for your brain if there's less choice.
Yeah.
They just do whatever is available.
Because maybe you also get like the golden nugget syndrome, which basically means that there are so many good things to do or opportunities that you don't know what to do. For example, in relationships, what we talked about, like the Tinder syndrome, where if you have a brawl with your partner, then you open Tinder, you have 500 other girls ready to F.
For example.
But I think also like when you're in school, people are always going to criticize you because like, let's say you are doing average, but you're working hard. Then your parents or grandparents or friends may say like, oh, there's always a next level or a bigger step. Or like, you know, when you're at like HBO in the Netherlands, there's always university grade to do.
Oh yeah,
there's
always HBO is, it's not HBO, but HBO is,
it's not on demand.
Is college,
like high school, college.
Yeah,
but more specialized.
Yeah, because you got, I think in America you got college and you got university college.
Yeah,
and then this is college.
Yeah, this is college.
Yeah,
but like for example, let's say you have a job and you're happy at it. There's always a new promotion or a colleague who's doing better, or like a new study or a better salary. So I think nobody's ever satisfied, and everyone's like busy with just getting to that next level, which is not a problem. I mean, I'm doing the same, but you should not. It shouldn't like fully consume you. And I think a lot of people experience a lot of pressure, maybe from their peer group or their family, that they have to like, how do you say that? We say prestatie drang in the Netherlands. Like people are always
it's the need to perform.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, can we pause this real quick? I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, sure. Let's get ready to
rumble. Okay.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Let's get there. Okay.
All right, guys. We're back from a small break.
We had a small bathroom break,
but we're here again.
But we managed our time, so we went simultaneously, right?
Yeah.
Just holding hands, just the way to do it.
Okay, next question.
I mean, you know, girls always go to the bathroom like in pairs.
Yeah.
We should do
Bromigos
it
do that too.
Yeah, right.
We do the cross being.
It's just what you do for good friends.
Yeah. Anyways, so back to the subject.
Where were we?
We were talking about like depression in young people and like how they always have the need to perform.
Oh yeah. I think,
for example, depression, that's a good subject, is the most, like the most common thing that most people suffer from. But I don't even think most people are depressed, but they just like label themselves depressed because they are sad and then they think, oh, I'm depressed. But I think it's almost being like overused nowadays.
I don't know, because I also like did research about like depressive, like psychological research about the depressive episodes that people have. So there's also some scientific basis to it. Also, what you're saying, like some people are not depressed, but they just think they are. But like there's a difference between being depressed and just being sad.
Yeah.
As shit as feeling sad is, it's not depression. Was gonna say something, but I think I forgot. Oh yeah, I wanted to add like because there's a lot of things that impact your mental health. Like if you have depression, anxiety, or maybe you have some other disorder.
Or
like,
social anxiety is also a huge one nowadays with a lot of introverts.
Yeah, social anxiety, but also if you look at stuff like ADHD, but even like more difficult syndromes like or diseases like borderline personality disorder, maybe bipolar disorder. There's of course a lot of other classifications, other diagnoses. For me, a thing that really helps is good diet, which is weird, but it helps. If I eat the food that I can eat, that my body likes, my mind gets clearer. And if I eat shit food, and I like shit food, like these, you got these candies that are like wine gums, but they're very sour on the outside.
Oh yeah.
We sell them in the Netherlands. They're fucking good.
But you also have that during your winter depression, right? Where you like I remember.
Oh yeah, but that's the thing with the winter depression.
For 24 days straight, you eat a whole tub of ice cream a day.
Thank you for bringing it up, man. I appreciate it. But it is true, and I'm not proud of it, but I am also very proud of it, because who does that?
Own it.
Yeah, but that's the thing about winter depression. Like people that have it, like not all of them, but a lot of them get like carb cravings, sugar cravings, and especially cravings for the worst kinds of carbs.
Yeah.
A bucket of ice cream, chocolate ice cream, 1 liter every day, 24 days. It's Christ. Amazing. It's also very fattening. So I came out of this winter looking like a fucking round.
You are a bit fluffy.
I was a bit fluffy.
No, but yes. Like I don't have winter depression, but in winter
I had some love handles. Yes,
I am less, I think, energetic maybe, but I think everyone has it, especially in the Netherlands, since the summer just brings out the best of you, and like in the winter you are a bit less enthusiastic. The sun's not out.
Yeah,
you know, most people are more at home. You see your friends less often. You cannot go like outside and have a drink. So, you know, especially in COVID, I think the COVID lockdowns in the winter were, for most people, pretty depressing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they just are.
But, you know, I think with depression, like for example, the young kids, I think it's also how you label yourself. Most people just don't see themselves as good enough, and they just.
That's an interesting one. I wanted to talk about that with you as well. And we, like, before we started recording the podcast, we talked about it a bit as well. Is that if you have, like, for example, me, I got diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, and it was closer to ADHD a lot of the time. But then the inattentive variant, ADD, was the previous name for it. It felt... For me, it felt like I had to fit into the school system, for example. And they were basically telling me, like, okay, the way you are, it's not working. Here's some pills, some Ritalin, and this will help you get into the system or get into the school system. For me, a lot of it was like, it felt like the person who you are, that's you, Levi, but that's not good enough, or that's not good enough for the thing that we're doing here. So we're going to give you some pills and we're going to fix you, and then you'll be able to join in with the rest of us. for me, that felt very much like, okay, I'm not good enough, or I'm different, and so I need to be fixed. Which is a very weird mindset to have, right? You need to be fixed.
So you mean that like the thing the psychiatrist said actually confirmed your limiting belief that you're not good enough, and then they came up with like a chemical solution for it?
I didn't even know before that, but when they said that stuff, then I was like, oh, am I not good enough? That was the first time that I really thought about that.
Like, I always had trouble concentrating, and at school I always got into like a brawl, like arguing with the school head and like the teachers and stuff. And most people were like, oh, there's Martin again, the ADHD guy. Then my parents took me to a psychiatrist, and he gave me like Ritalin, which is like, it's basically Adderall, but then the Dutch variant, the Dutch version. And they said like, yeah, you have issues with this and this, and it solved the issues. You know, that's not the case. I'm not on that stuff anymore for years. But it's more like your parents are like next to you saying, yeah, you're not good enough. You have way too much energy. You're too unfocused. So we're going to fix you. But should people be fixed?
Yeah, and that's the big question. Like, okay, we can fix you to function in this school system or in this society. But the other side to it is maybe you're not the problem, but maybe the world in which you're living is the problem. And I don't mean problem like it's inherently
it just
bad.
Doesn't fit you. For example, I don't have ADHD, but I still have like more energy levels than normal people, and I think I'm more
definitely
more hyperactive. But in my job, for example, which is sales based on commission, I can use that energy to like fuel me and fuel my successes and my sales. So I think it also depends. If I would still be in school, I would of course, you know, with the discipline that I have, be able to focus. But I think it would be different because you are in this like small square. Like you need to be this, you need to be this. But it's I don't think it fits a lot of people. I think a lot of people don't like the label, and they just don't feel accepted by society, or just they don't feel like they fit in, right?
Well, it's also weird if you get told by society, like quote unquote society, like, yeah, you're not good enough for the way we do it.
But what is good enough, right? I mean,
yeah, but that's the thing. It's so subjective. Like, what is good enough? Like, I know someone, a friend of mine, who she feels like she doesn't fit in society the way it is structured right now. And
in which part? Like,
well, the thing I want to say, and if she watches this, you will know it's you that I'm talking about. But she feels like if she has no pressure from work, for example, or just maybe on a holiday for a few weeks, or maybe she is in between stuff, she just takes all the time off. She's not like trying to like accomplish anything. She will feel all the stress melt away. Maybe not the financial stress, but like a lot of stress melts away, and then she feels really normal. But when she starts to get into the working stuff again, and just the way we live life in general, you know, you got to work,
grind, the rat race,
the grind, the rat race. When she gets into it again, like really gets into it, because you have to, because you also need to make money, because you need to be able to live, to survive, to live, to thrive, to do stuff that you like, then she will feel like a disconnect again. But when she doesn't do that, when she has these periods of like nothing, like just maybe you can see it as a recharge period, you know, to recharge yourself. She doesn't feel any of that stuff. And then she feels really good. And that's very interesting to me, because to me it says like you are good the way you are, and you also know how to feel good. But the stress of maybe the society, because you don't fully fit into it.
But you also cannot say... you cannot say like, okay, you have this, so why don't you stop working for the rest of your life and live in the forest? Like you cannot escape.
Well, you can do it in the Netherlands. You can go on social benefit.
Yeah, but is that the solution? Ignoring it, then you're just ignoring the problem. You're busy with not the root cause of it, but like the what comes next.
Yeah, but but that's the thing. Like, what is the root cause? Is the root cause you, or is it the society that you live in? Like,
it's how you interpret what happens, how you handle the situation, how you the emotional value you attach to.
Yeah, but for me, it feels like society is very 2D. There's like a few characters, like personal character traits that we really value. One, for example, is discipline. Like study a lot, work your way up. Just, you know, the standard procedure: go to school, go to school more and more and more. That's very good, because we got a lot of stuff out of our system, you know, a lot of growth, a lot of innovation. So there's obviously a huge upside to it, but not everyone is made for that. And so the people that are more people that are more outliers, like artists, like maybe only 1% of 1% makes it to the top, and they get really rich, right? And they get really rich, like YouTube rich or like Kanye West rich. They get really rich. Most people, they cannot make their living being an artist, but that would be like the preferred thing to do because just of how their mind works. But still, the world is very, in that regard, 2D, and not every trade gets rewarded, you know. And sometimes you have bad traits, and you will feel like maybe sometimes I can be a bit chaotic. I know that I don't always like it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I have to work with that to make it like a concrete example. But for some people, it would have been totally fine. Maybe for me too, the chaotic part would be totally fine if society was structured just a little bit differently. That we just had a little bit more time and patience for people that are sometimes a bit more chaotic. You mean that
society puts more emphasis on personal like talent and traits instead of just having the regular school stream and people? And
well, we have a specific set of traits, talents that we really value, and chaotic people, the trait of being chaotic usually doesn't fit in there. But chaotic, like the counterpart of being chaotic, is that you can also be really enthusiastic
and creative,
and that's the huge upside to that. And that doesn't always get rewarded because we look at we value other traits more. Take the middle
road then, like saying, okay, I'm a bit more chaotic, so I'm not going to be a professor, but I should work more on my discipline, my mental health, and my like things.
Oh yeah,
because maybe she doesn't but even want to find
there's
balance.
You can work on it, but there's only so much you can do. If you're like, it's a skill. Let's go from chaotic to very disciplined or very structured. It's a skill, but if you are on one end, it's almost impossible to get to the other end.
But somewhere in a healthy middle.
Yeah, like as much as it's possible for you to do. But maybe if you do all that work, you still like feel like that you don't fit in.
But then what should you do? Like, what's the solution if you don't fit in society? I think what we, for example, did is discover our own passion and what we find fun because we didn't fit in the education system.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing for me too. Is like I want to do what I like and what I'm good at, and I also because of the sales experiences, I would love to make a lot of money, sure, but I have finally, especially since the last year, like since 2020, 2021 too, have set different priorities. Like I always used to be like, I want money and I want to earn more and more and more. And now it's the first time that I'm really like, okay, but first of all, I want to do something that I like. And then the money is also important, but I want to do something that I like and I'm good at. And then maybe the money comes. But if it doesn't come, like, for example, if I would have wanted to be a teacher, like a high school teacher, then money doesn't really come because that's not the job in which to make a lot of money.
But if you
really like it, go for it anyway, because that's the thing that is close to you. And
so for the people that don't fit in the regular system, they should find something they like and then do that to be happy?
Yeah. And
because you cannot run away from it, like being social, whatever you said.
Like, but I think the biggest problem with like the if we relate it back to the mental health stuff, it's always been, but it still is money. And I think that a lot of people, a lot of young people, I feel it, and a lot of my friends feel it. Like you gotta enter the rat race because you want to make some money, because you want to be. You want to live a good life, but you also want to live a life that you don't always have to worry about money. So we all feel that. At the same time, we feel, I think, maybe also because we are so much more connected through Instagram, Facebook, all the social media channels, that it maybe gets more difficult to get a lot of money. Also because, at least in the Netherlands, there's a huge housing crisis. Houses are getting so expensive that every day I can buy a house right now, but my chances of buying a house tomorrow are smaller than today, even though I might make money today.
So
because the prices increase that much, so we all feel like
inflation goes faster than the amount of money you're able to save to catch up with inflation.
Yeah, so what I feel is that there's such a focus on money. It's always been that, but it's so big now, the focus on money, that we just really want some money to be able to live the life that we want, that we forget to focus on, okay, but what do I like doing?
Yeah.
And what is that fulfillment? We chase the money, we sometimes chase the money a bit too much, in my opinion. And it is important, but sometimes we lose sight of what is it that I really want to do, and what is it that makes me feel good about myself.
So adjust your focus.
So basically what brings out what stuff in my life, like job-wise or hobby-wise, brings out my personality to the fullest. I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah. So just, if you don't really fit in, find something you like, and that you can use your personal like characteristics and traits to the fullest. Because most people don't like sales, but I have a good personality for sales. Mixed with, of course, discipline, for example. But if you do that, then you are in a way better place. If I would feel judged or pressured to go into sales because I need to make a lot of money for like my family or whatever, but you don't like sales and it's not a fit for you, then you will become depressed.
And that's exactly the thing. Like, I had it at a sales job. It wasn't for me. And I really like sales, but I needed some connection to
your
some
product.
part of me. So that's too why now I'm working at the company that does fundraising for charities. And I like it way better because there's like this connection to charities, which I personally really like. It gives me a sense of I'm doing something good. We're raising structural supporters for like different charities, and that makes me feel like I am contributing to something. And so then I feel again that I like doing sales. And I don't work at a sales department, but the department where I work at is also still some kind of sales involved.
Still has a link.
Yeah, but it feels way better in this position than it did back then. I still like sales, but for me, it needs to have this.
You found something you like within the branch or the industry.
Yeah, and so that also, I finally was able to find something that suits me, and I think when you are able to do that, then that it really helps your mental health. But then you do have to find out what you like.
Find your passion.
And there's also a lot of people
Dudes and dudettes.
Yeah, but there's also a lot of people that don't know what they like. What do you want to say to those people?
Well,
we've been there.
Go out of, just like we said in the podcast about self-esteem, get out of your comfort zone. Try as many things as you can. If you do not know what kind of girls you like, make as much friends as possible. Go on as much dates as possible. Find out.
Yeah.
Make
also
numbers.
learn from the bad experiences.
Yeah, but it's like we humans learn from trial and error. So if you do not have any trial and error like occasions, then you cannot like conclude anything. You need to try new things and then just trust the process and trust that you will find something that you like. But if you do not take any action and you're just laying in your bed all day, that's where the depression really hits you. You know,
fair point.
So if something doesn't work, you should try something else, because otherwise you're going to get the same results. So I think that's really important for people. Even if you do not like fit into the standard society, you can still make more money than people that went to university. You can still live a healthier, wealthier, happier life if you just really own it and love yourself, and if you really do something that you like, because then you have an advantage. But you need to try out more things. Yeah,
and always reflect.
Yeah,
always reflect. Get introspective.
Just
like, am I happy with what I'm doing? Is
like
the stuff that
down.
I don't like that I'm doing? Why don't I like the thing that I'm doing right now? Why am I not happy, or why am I feeling like maybe like shit, or why is my mental health so bad? And always ask for the why. Why? And for example, also limiting beliefs, or just weird perspectives that you maybe have gotten from your childhood. Just the way you view things in the world. Maybe they can really hold you back.
Also, as yourself,
examine it.
Is something true, and is something reality, or is it your reality? Maybe some people are in reality not even depressed, but they just tell themselves and they believe it.
Yeah, it is the same. To make my point a bit more concrete, like with the viewpoints or maybe the perspectives you have on life that might not help you or might hold you back.
Concrete, is that the stone from a...
Also, but like a concrete example.
Oh, yeah,
you know, for example, dating, and especially a lot of guys have it. Like, I need to conquer the woman.
Bullshit.
But conquering, that feels like a war. It feels like you have to, like, I don't know, have to make someone like you. And that's really almost a fighting stance. You know, I gotta conquer you. I gotta do something to make you like me or to, you know. It's a weird stance, and it's holding you back if you believe that. Most people believe that, or a lot of guys believe it. But the thing is, it doesn't help, because if you have to conquer someone, it already implies that it's gonna be like a battle for you, or like a fight.
Yeah. It should be from both ways, like mutual.
Well, you wanna have common ground, but if you're like facing each other like in this, how do you say that, linguistic sense, I think it is, like the way you word it and the way you view it. Yeah, it becomes a battle. But like the different way to look at this stuff, like dating, for example, is we want to find like a connection. So, hello, nice to meet you. We're going to do something together. We're going to just look at, you know, have a good conversation. We're just going to find out, what do we like? Do we have similarities? Whatever. And that's a way different vibe than, I need to conquer this woman.
Yeah, it's fake.
I'm going to make her like me. No, just chill. Just chill. But there's also just a one concrete example of, sometimes you have worldviews that suck.
But just acknowledge it that it sucks.
And that's okay, because we're here to learn, and we're here to get through life and get on a journey.
It's the same with like when I had that mental breakdown, depression bullshit.
Yeah.
I thought I had like attachment issues.
But bullshit. Yeah.
Like once I viewed that the attachment issues are bullshit, and it depends on the person. If you cannot attach yourself to a person, maybe that person is not the right person for you. But you cannot say you have attachment issues unless you dated like 20 different women. And then you figure, trial and error again. You figure out like, hey, you know, if you look at the 20 women in total, did you or are you able to attach yourself to any of those women, or is it like a general thing? But if you don't make enough examples and take enough action, then it's easy to label yourself. Yeah. School makes me depressed. Yeah, but if you only had one study you followed for 1 year, does school make you depressed, or did this specific
subject
specific
teacher make you depressed? Yeah. Oh, but that's very true. Great.
How are we?
There's a great quote.
Time, by the way.
I think we're almost at the end, but there's a great quote. If it stinks of shit, walk somewhere different. Like if it stinks of shit right here, maybe walk a few feet and then go stand over there. But if it always stinks like shit, you might want to check your own shoes. And that's exactly it. Like if you try,
that's a good one.
If you've dated or went into, let's say, 20 different relationships, and in every relationship you get attachment issues, then it's you. But if you've been in 20 and you only got it the once,
then it's not.
Then
you.
It might have been, and I don't want to say it's her, you know, or it's the other, but then it was just not a good match.
Yeah. I think that's the best one. So before people say they have mental illness or depression caused by outside circumstances, first change up the circumstances. Like, for example, in my mental breakdown period, I could have labeled myself depressed, but I changed my environment and my outside circumstances, and then the depression or the mental breakdown went away. Yeah. So if I said before I changed my circumstances, I'm depressed, and I started to believe that, then I could have changed my environment and nothing would happen because I would still believe it. I would still smell my own shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, so before you say
especially after 2 weeks in the same room. Yeah.
And no underwear.
Yeah.
No, that was just...
And no good food.
No, but anyway...
just bread and crackers, man.
Before you say, like, I am XYZ, you know, just change up things and try new things. I think that's the moral of the story. Yeah. True. I agree. And of course, people, we don't say mental illness is real or is like less than, you know, we're not diminishing. But we're also not talking about like schizophrenia or like, you know, bipolar disorder, stuff like that, because that's like really chemical. We are mainly talking about the topics that are like influenced by... And still, because I feel like
where I am sometimes ADHD, sometimes I can have like, well, I am not borderline, but I can like get borderline enthusiastic about some stuff. I think you share it as well. Some people just have this. We call it borderline enthusiasm, but it's also really of a like an ADHD thing, like
black on white.
Oh my god, this is insane.
The only thing I am sometimes is manic. Like with work, for example.
But that's what I think that's what I mean. Like, you get into an idea or you find something and you're just like, oh my God, I need to devote all my fucking time and energy to this project right now. Yeah. This is amazing. This is insane.
I have that with work. Like sometimes I even have like trouble sleeping because
you get excited about work.
Yeah, because it's just the sales and the cash flow and stuff.
I caught myself 2 days ago. I was lying in bed. It was like 12 o'clock and I was like checking the KPIs, the scores of the day, from the team that works when I leave, just to see like how are we doing this week as a team. And it was 12 o'clock and I was like, am I working right now? But I just got excited. I wanted to see it. Like, how are we doing? Are we doing good? Are we doing great? And so so there's some borderline stuff, but I do feel like, and I don't know about that's like schizophrenia is a really difficult one, I think. But like mood disorders, there's also stuff you can do with diet, meditation, exercise, of course. Medication also is a big one. But if we're talking about more general mental health issues like we're doing right now. Yeah,
mental breakdown, depression, being sad, melancholic,
stress,
burnout, stuff like that. Social anxiety, anxiety, general anxiety, stress-induced anxiety.
Yeah,
or anxiety about anxiety.
But it helps a lot to try and assess your situation.
Yep.
Right.
And switch things up, ladies and gentlemen.
Switch things up, right? To get some clarity in your head, get some insights.
Write down the problems.
Head. Yeah.
Be realistic and don't smell your own shit.
And try something. Like also like going to a psychologist is also trying. But you have to take the initiative. You have to do something.
Even in that mental breakdown period, by the way, I went to the doctor and he forwarded me to a psychiatrist or psychologist and a psychiatrist also. Mm-hmm. But I never went there because of that. It went away. But I still had the door like open, like the gateway. So I was like, okay,
if you would have needed it, you were free
because I was feeling like way better, but still like just for to be better safe than sorry. So I still had that letter in my room for like 6 more months that if I would fall back, I would go there. And I never went there because I never felt. I just kept going like to the sky, to the moon. But I still had that option. And I think that's a good one. I just touched the numbers and made the decisions. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I think we're at the end.
Interesting subject.
It's a very interesting subject. There's so much more to talk about too.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But that will probably come another time.
Yeah, because what do you, if you do mental health in 1 hour, do you do your personal experiences, the biological side, psychological side? But
there's so much research on it. Like you could talk about this subject for hours and hours and on.
But we just share our bromigistic view about it.
Bromigistic view. And there's more stories to we got plenty more stories
for the future.
Sure.
Okay. Guys, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Let us know. Well, that might be a personal question. Let us know your worst mental breakdown. That might be a bit personal, but if you have any comments, any fun stories you want to share, also positive stories, let us know what works for you to get better when you're feeling down on yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have a great evening, guys.
Bromigos out.
Bromigos out.
Yeah. Thank you.